Welcome back to Sunrise Daily. Well, yes, continuing our focus on the negotiations or the reported negotiation between the federal government, militant groups in the Niger Delta. Well, yes, we're also aware that only recently it was also reported that another bombing has occurred in the pipelines, and so today we'll be focusing on that to find out if negotiations are achieving their desired results. Our guest is coming from Abuja. Mark.
Thank you, Chamberlain. Well, we do have with us Mike Ejiofor, who is a former director with the Department of State Security. You're welcome to the program.
Thank you very much.
Now, a lot of people are at a loss. First of all, we did hear that there was some negotiation going on, and then in some quarters there was denial of negotiations, and then just when we thought that perhaps there's a glimmer of hope in that area, we hear that another pipeline has been destroyed. What do you make of all of this?
Well, excuse me, you see, we need to lay a foundation. Mm-hmm. If there is negotiation, who is the government negotiating with? And if we are negotiating with the wrong people, of course you have to see all these things coming up. I'll give you a little background. MEND that issued statement that they're negotiating with government, is MEND united? Of course, no. MEND is factionalized.
So those are the questions that government must ask before it enters
any
negotiations.
Who are the people who are involved in this type of pipeline busting? Of course, it's Niger Delta Avengers, not MEND. So the part of MEND, from my own little analysis, involved in negotiation with government is the faction of Charles Oka and Henry Oka, who are both in prison. One already convicted, the other one in trial.
Who's the other faction of MEND?
The other faction of MEND, the original founders of MEND, of course you know, is Tompolo and the rest of them. So they are not united. And you cannot be negotiating with one faction of MEND and expect to achieve results. What is happening now is that government seemingly is negotiating with the wrong side. And that is Charles Oka faction of MEND. Because I have also looked at the resolutions or their demands, which they claim government has acceded to. And government is here to come out with a statement that it has actually acceded to these demands. One, the release of Charles Oka, Kanu, and the rest of them. These are no issues. As far as I'm concerned, government must look for credible people within the Niger Delta to negotiate and reach out to the people, especially the Niger Delta Avengers.
We will explore those thoughts a little bit further when we return from this break. Do join us again. Welcome back. Mike Ejiofor, a director with the DSS, is still with us in the studio. And you were exploring the idea of negotiations, talking about, who exactly government could be negotiating with. You've divided the groups into two already. You say, from what you're saying, they are not united.
They are not united.
But a lot of people will say that, could it be deliberate?
It's not deliberate. The issue is that all the people are looking for their interest, personal interest. You have to define whose interest is there. The faction of MEND, the Charles Oka faction of the MEND, are possibly negotiating for the release of their leaders. The other MEND is virtually inactive now. It has transformed to Niger Delta Avengers.
No, because if you look at can we say that for sure? That the other MEND has transformed to Niger Delta Avengers?
Of course, because they are not coming out. MEND is not issuing statement. The only MEND faction that is issuing statement now is the Charles Oka faction, which claims that it's negotiating with government.
Now, we do know that there was a time when, there was some ceasefire arrangement between government and the Niger Delta Avengers. And for a certain period, it seemed that there was some truce. During that period, there was no pipeline bombing. Is it that government they don't know who to negotiate with, or there is some mistaken identity here? What do you think is happening?
I don't think there has been a truce since this incident started. there has been continuous bombing. As we talk, you will recall yesterday or 2 days ago, there was another bombing of the pipelines. So I think government should explore, go into details, look for credible leadership, people who can reach the members of Niger Delta Avengers. And I must also point out that I am not in support of bombing of pipelines. Nobody will tolerate criminality or violence, knowing full well that our economic mainstay is on the oil. But what are the issues being raised? Those issues must be addressed. And I tell you, there is no amount of negotiation, there's no amount of palliatives that will solve this problem. The government, previous government, under Yar'Adua, has established the Niger Delta Development Commission. We have a Ministry of Niger Delta. We have a presidential amnesty. Have all these bodies achieved the desired result? Of course, the answer is no. So there are basic issues, fundamental issues, very critical issues that has to be addressed. And that is restructuring the country, especially in the areas of derivation and resource control, fiscal federalism. As long as we continue to go in circles, we are not going to have peace.
Chamberlain has a question for you.
Well, Mr. Ejiofor, I was just wondering, are you then saying that we brought this upon ourselves?
Tell me, it's very faint.
Are you saying we brought this upon ourselves?
Of course. The president, advisors to the president it should come out. It's not peculiar to this government. All previous governments have failed in achieving this. And that's why when the confab report was presented, I expected that it will solve some part of our problems.